Welcome back to Educated Kids learning session. We have been discussing about the social skill development series, and under this social skill development series, we have been discussing about one of the most important component of social skill development aspects, which is related to problematic behavior of the child. And under this problematic behavior of the child, we have been discussing about the attention problem or overactiveness of the child. And today we are going to discuss one of the component of attention problem or overactiveness of the child, which is related to making lots of noise which annoys others. This is basically a common problem among children. If we do not address it, then this may become a bigger issue in the future. So from that perspective, it is very important from preschool stakeholders, those who are taking the responsibility of the child to identify and to work on those problems. It's very important for them to understand that such kind of behavior is not accepted as a social skill development things, and that's where we preschool stakeholders can make amendments. So let's go ahead and understand the very basic things, what we as a teacher or we as parents can make some difference in our child so that the child can be better off as far as the social skill is concerned. Now coming to the behavior, sometimes it is also known as noisy behavior, and noisy behavior is all about the child is making unnecessary noises which annoys others, and since it annoys and disturbs others, that is called as a problematic behavior, and that must be addressed to and that must be corrected in the child if such behavior is present. Now, how do you know that such kind of behavior is present in our child? So number one is the child makes constant, loud, undesired noises. So here, as teachers or parents, we must understand there are two types of noises generally the children they make. One is that out of joyfulness, out of enjoyment, child makes some noises, just like clapping and singing in loud, but that is limited to a particular activity that is being done either in school or at a home environment. And once the activity is over, then child becomes silent, child becomes absolutely calm and remain as silent as possible. Second category of noise what children make, which is termed as undesired noise, without having any related activities done, without having any related background of such kind of enjoyment or entertainment, child makes these noises. That means if a child is making any kind of noise, either through using other objects or through making lots of noise by mouth, such kind of things are considered to be undesired if there is nothing related to that. Suppose something is not happening, no activity is happening, but the child is suddenly from nowhere starts shouting, starts making noises, that are the undesired noises, and such kind of behavior must be addressed. So this is one thing. If you keep on observing a child making such undesired noises without having any relation to any activities, then that is one thing we must keep it in mind. Then second thing is that the child is characterized by noise. Then when we talk about characterized by noise, that means the child is known for making noises all the time. And if such kind of perception builds up, then that is not actually good for the child. And such characterization comes from different background. We know that the children, they observe, they see lot of cartoon characters, and that's where some of the children, they become so obsessive towards such kind of characters. They try to mimic those characters even if such characters are not related to any kind of activities. That means if the child is too much obsessed about a particular character, for example, let's understand Sinchan. Sinchan makes lots of undesired noises the way the story is being narrated in this cartoon character. So when the child observes that and carries those things in the mind, then in some places child starts creating such kind of problems and such kind of noises which may create the problems for others. So in such situation, the child is automatically characterized by that noise, since the child is making noise without having a kind of characterization being in the background. Therefore, the child's behavior is categorized or called as a problematic behavior. I think we as teachers and parents must understand such kind of situation, such kind of background when such things are happening. If these two things are happening to a particular child, then we may categorize the child under this problematic behavior, and then it becomes easy for us to correct those behavior. Now question comes, once we identify, how do we make such amendments or some changes in the behavior of the child? So number one, what we need to do is that some activities either in school or at the home will be fueled more to augment this kind of behavior. For example, if a child is making lots of noise and we create some activities which is related to making further noise, then these activities will not help the child to subsidize such kind of problematic behavior. In fact, it will help the child to accumulate such kind of behavior more and more. So what we need to do as a teacher or as a parent, consciously select activities which are more calm in nature and which are more quieter in nature. So that is very, very important. If we identify, immediately we can plan out our activities accordingly. Please have a look to our prime methodology when we design various kind of activities, and in those activities, let's put some kind of calm and quieter activities which will help the child to be more calm, and such kind of problematic behavior will be taken care of. Now, second one, what we can do as supporting to the child to manage such kind of behavior, we may provide more activities to perform with specific role. When a child is idle and the child is preloaded with some perception created by a character, then child is more likely to make such kind of noises. So what we need to do is that we can create some activities which needs a specific activity like talking, singing a particular song, creating more background to perform. So if such things will be happening, child will be coming out of that perceptual zone and be present and be connect to all those activities which is created at this point of time. And if such things will happen again and again, then child will come out of that perceptual zone quite easily. So that is the second thing what we can do. And third thing what we can do, it is observe that child's problematic behavior happens when child is left alone. When child is left alone, child gets irritated, child gets a little bit of anxiety. So at this point of time, such behavior is triggered basically. So when a child is put up with some activities or put up with other children or other caretakers, then it is very much possible that such kind of behavior can be managed quite well. So these are the three things what we can do to take care of such kind of problematic behavior, and we are sure that with such kind of precautions we can modify the behavior of the child before it becomes a kind of habitual behavior for the child. And since we know that we have to measure the child's behavior, we have to track the progress of the child, then what we need to do, since these are the two basic situations, child is considered as developing such behavior that is making constant undesired noises, and the child is characterized by noise may be triggered by some character, and these two things we have to measure through our providing the marks or in a Likert scale from 0 to 3. If child is not showing any behavior, these two particular behavior making constant undesired noise or characterized by any noise, then we give a score of 0. And if sometimes the child is doing, then we give a score of 1. And if child is doing it often, almost every day in every situation, then we'll give a score of 3. Now, if the score of 3 is there, then we know that this is very, very undesired situation. We must change the child's behavior, and accordingly we have to put such strategies what we discussed, so that we can make some changes in the behavior of the child. And such evaluation should at least happen once in 6 months, so that we are double sure that the child doesn't exhibit such kind of problematic behavior. And with this, we can help our children to grow absolutely skillfully socially in the future, and that will help them to grow better, and academically they can also do things in a much better way. So that's where we as preschool stakeholders can contribute and help our children to grow better by managing such social skill in a much professional way. So that's all, and going further, we'll discuss another problematic behavior in some point of time in our next session, and that is related to child takes things away from other children, which is very common behavior among some children in the preschool years, but this is not expected or this is not desired as far as the child social skill is concerned. So those things we'll discuss in details in our next session, and up to that time, thank you so much for putting up your time and making sure that such kind of information, such kind of awareness is going to help us by building the skill of our child in a much, much better way. Thank you very much, and we'll see you in our next session, which will coming up